Hello, and welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play video with me, Elven Dragon. So last episode we went and built up this tower that I'm standing on right here, just over in our little forest area, and I'm really liking the view from up here. I really like how we can see pretty much everything on the island, and I'm tempted to put more of these around the island. So I've got a space marked out on the other side from our house, just kind of more fortification towers. But I was up here and I was thinking, if we want to get snow or something like that, we're going to have to build up in order to do that. So we're going to need a tower for that. And I figured, you know what? Tower to get some snow might not be a bad idea. So I don't think we're going to have much luck with snow over here with our forest area. But I believe the stony shores we have returning into the scrubland here might be a little bit better. So I'm going to have to go and determine how high up we actually have to go to get snowfall. Hopefully it's not too bad. I'm judging based on the grass color that this is a colder biome. So I'm really hoping that we get snow and that we're not going to get it at, say, 200 something. Because if we don't have to go up too high, we could do a nice little tower, probably right over here, I should think. This looks like a nice area. Maybe we can make it have some sort of connection to the ruins or something. I don't know. We'll go mark out a small little tower here, figure out how high up we have to go, which means we're gonna have to wait for it to rain. So, I guess I'm gonna go do that and, well, at least get something marked out over here. Alright, so I've gone and built up the tower a little bit. We've basically just gone up to the height of our barn because we know that still gets rain. So this will just give us a nice little basis to start from in getting our tower built up to snow level. Assuming we actually get snow here. Hope we get snow here. That'd be a really big problem if we didn't get snow here and we built this huge tower. Oh well. I think it looks alright. I've gone with a mixture of andesite, tuff, and deep slate here to kind of give it a more weathered look. And on the inside, you can kind of see, if we go down our little water elevator, I haven't built one of these in a very long time, mostly because I've had soul sand to build a faster one. But nice simple little water elevator. But you can see we've kind of got a nice little pattern here going. So we have our one type of chiseled tuff. Which one is that? Chiseled. And then we got chiseled tuff bricks above that with some pale oak logs. We've got a bit of quartz in the middle of the pattern with some of our dried kelp blocks. And then we kind of just mirror it above there and keep going. Kind of run out of our chiseled quartz. So I'm going to have to go and buy more of that from the villagers. But I think that this is going to be a great use of all of the pale oak logs that we have from getting all of our leaves for our forest. And we've got tons of dried kelp because of our smelter. Now the corners here we're using copper, and this might be a bit of a problem. This is pretty much all the copper we have, so I'm going to have to go and fortune up a little bit more of that before we can get anywhere near the top of this tower. But this is just basically kind of give a nice little idea of what this area is going to look like. So this is all going to oxidize. Got one here for a bubble column already set. And I kind of like how this is turning out. This will be a nice little tower here. Definitely need to get this thing a bit taller eventually, but we need it to rain for that. So, till then, I'm just going to keep working on decorating up that inside bit. And hopefully, it won't take too long before it rains. Alright, so after quite a bit of waiting, as you can see we've gotten all of the copper in so far. And some of it has started to oxidize, but not much yet. And we finally have some rain, so now we can kind of figure out how high up we're going to have to go. So, what I think we're going to do is we're just going to build this up with our copper here, because we have quite a bit of that. We're going to have to take out some blocks eventually, just because we're going to need some of our copper here back. Going up pretty high. Got rain still. Hopefully it's not too much higher. This is already pretty high up. We do get a nice view of the island from up here though. Oh, there we go. Snow. Looks like this is about the height where it starts. All right. Just gonna put down a pale oak log here temporarily. That way we can kind of take some advantage. We'll do two here. Take some advantage of the snow. Put down some cauldrons. Maybe we can get some powdered snow, and apparently we're getting rain. We may have to go up a little higher here. Oh, this is going to be interesting. May have to experiment here and see where we stop getting water into our cauldrons and we start getting snow. Or never mind, looks like 120 is, or 121? Yeah, 120. 120 is our magic number. Now hopefully we can miss the bubble elevator. Oh, now we know! We have a spot that we can start getting snow and rain and... Oh, we start getting snow, at least. That is quite a ways up there. Oh well. Well, at least we now have a height to get to. That is going to take quite a bit of time to get up there. Wow. That's about another 40 blocks that we have to go up. Well, we've got a long ways to go. And hopefully, enough signs and everything else that we can get up there. So, I've got a tower to build. And hopefully, we've got enough stuff that we can actually do this. Alright, so there we go. One nice big tall tower all the way up to snow level. You can see we've already got some snow forming on the outside of the tower from a recent rainfall. And this is where we're going to have our snow collection layer. So what I'm thinking is that we're probably going to have a few blocks here for collecting snow, have some pale oak planks as our flooring here. And then what we're going to do is we are going to put in a small little section here to collect ice. Since we have to be all the way up here to get the ice anyway, so might as well just get that while we're up here. So in terms of just getting like blue ice and stuff, this is probably never going to replace just trading with the wandering trader. But for regular ice, if we want it, this should be a pretty decent little ice farm. At least I hope it is. So with our platform in, we need to actually take out this cauldron here. That's going to go over on this side. And this one will move over another block as well. But we need to put in our slabs and stairs into here. We do need to bring up the walls one more layer, just so that we don't have water flowing all the way over the edge. But this should be enough that it automatically fills in. At least once we get the outer edge in here. So we're going to need to do a little bit more work to get the water up here. But all in all, I think this should be a nice little quick tower for us to do our ice and snow collection. We'll get some powdered snow. We won't really get too much snow layers, but we only really need enough to get 2 blocks of snow anyway to get the snow golem. So we've got 3 snowballs here. Should hopefully get a few more. We might actually hold off on the ice farm for a little bit until we can actually get that. But it looks like we are going to need some light in this tower. Did not consider that part. That or we need to replace some of those blocks at the top with slabs. Completely doable. But we need to get that top layer in. We need to get the ice farm running. Hopefully it works. I actually don't know if it's going to freeze up there. Just, it does snow, so I'm hoping it does. But we'll have to play around with that, see if that works. I think this should be a nice big tower. This is considerably taller than anything else we have in this area. But we do get some nice views from the top there, though. So I'm going to get the ice farm set up. Hopefully get enough snowballs to get snow golem, although I doubt it. And then I'll be back. All right, so a little bit later, and I'd say that the ice farm here works. Doesn't quite get all of the water area that we have here, but that's fine. figure that it's probably that there's some weird stuff going on with where stuff is actually cold enough to get snow and ice and where it's not. I ended up moving one of our cauldrons. I was going to have both of them here in the corners, but for some reason, the one that was right here was only getting rain and not snow. So I've moved it there to see if we can actually get some snow in there. Maybe we can get 2 spots over here that we're actually going to get snow in both. Let's tinker around with that, see where we can put these. But, oh no, I think that this is pretty much a success. You have to be careful on the edges here because that is stone, so it'll break very easily. But we do get a decent amount of ice from this thing decently quickly, so happy with that. Got about 5 blocks of packed ice here, so we can use those for decoration. You can also use the ice for decoration too, but then we have to be careful with the light levels and everything else, so easier just use the packed ice. Now, underneath our upper area here, which we do need to get a better way down from up here. This bubble column is, or water elevator here, is great for getting up. Little slow for going down, but it's still fairly dark up in the upper sections here. So I'm thinking what we can do is we can use some light blue candles here, and we'll kind of have these floating in the air. Not quite sure where. Need to figure out how we're going to do that, especially since we don't have too many blocks that we can use, and also with the water elevator here, it's going to be difficult placing stuff on the top. So I'll have to build up and try that. So I've got some, we'll just use some dark oak logs from building up the trees. Yeah, add in the first one. So I'm thinking probably one, maybe about 2 or 3 layers up. So just go up here and see what we can do with that. So there, do 4 each, just because that'll provide the most amount of light. There we go. And now the next one can be over here. You can also just add in single ones as we go. These are just the ones to make the light a little bit higher so that we don't have to worry about being down here in the dark. So that is all of the 4 candles that we can do right now. Put in a single one about halfway through, maybe in the middle here, I think. So just go up a couple blocks here, put the one down. Yeah, that looks about half. So there we go. Put that in. And now we just have to get down. We'll light that one. Yeah, those won't provide very much light, but I think it'll look really nice with everything here. And the floating candles will just be a nice little addition. We don't need them on the bottom here because of the glowstone. But there we go. That already lights up about the tower. So yeah, I like that. That is going to be nice. We'll have to add more in here. Maybe we'll put some other colors. I don't know. I do like the light blue. The light blue fits really well with this being an ice tower. Although we could do white. White would work too. So again, we'll have to play around with that. So thinking those could be really nice for the here. Yeah, we just have to get a few more and those in there, which means we need to actually harvest from the bee farms. Did get a little bit, and we're also gonna have to get some more string. Don't have very much of that. So there's an easier way of getting candles. Not that honeycomb and string aren't super easy to get, but this is gonna take a while because I think we only have like 2 bees out here. Should really get some more of the beehives that we have. Get those set up out in the outside area here. Be nice. Just put a random beehive around here. We should probably also breed up the bees that we have in here a little bit more so we can actually fill all 4 hives. So we'll have to play around with that, see what we have for beehives and stuff in our house. I know I've got a few. Yeah, there they are. So we'll have to spread those out in the woods later once we actually get those fully done. So with that, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more what is going on this island and in the rest of this world. And I will catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.